Greetings, thanks for checking into the Friday 13th YouTube channel. Today you'll be listening to a live concert review accompanied by some pictures. This is Testament Live at the Manchester Academy on the 10th of October of 2025. Now both support acts came from Nervosa from Brazil, followed by Destruction and also Obituary from Florida. So check out this review, folks. I hope you enjoy the pictures and let me know what you think. Leave some comments. Thanks for watching. Now, Nervosa are a female thrash metal band that have some death metal elements. They're very heavy and extreme. These guys were formed in 2010 by guitarist Prika Amarel and also drummer Fernanda Terra. The band was also joined by Karen Ramos as second guitarist. Later on, drummer Fernando would leave the band. The band would release their debut album back in 2013. This was for Napalm Records. This was entitled, and this album was called Victims to Yourself. This was a fantastic debut album that showed potential for the band. With the success of the band's debut album in 2016, the band would release their second album. This was called Agony. 2018 saw the band's next album. This was called Downfall of Mankind. In 2020, the band would have a lineup change. Vocalist Fernando would leave the band alongside Loana, who would form another extreme metal band called Crypta. In total, the band have released 5 albums, with the next album in 2021. This was called Perpetual Chaos, and the band's latest album released in 2023. This is called Jailbreak. And with the band's current lineup being Paprika Amanal on guitar and vocals, would also have Helena Cortina on guitars, would have Hellpree on bass guitar, and also on drums would have Gabriella Abud. So that would be the current lineup for the band. And I've got to say, I've seen these girls before live. They actually supported Flotsam and Jetsam and also Destruction some years ago. Some of you people may have seen that tour, but these girls play extreme heavy thrash metal with death metal elements. I guess you could compare them to early Sepultura, also Serifago, and also with the elements of heaviness of Arch Enemy, especially in the early days. Now, I've got to say that Prakika's vocals very much remind me of Angela or even Elisa from the band Arch Enemy. The band also have elements of Destruction, as well as Sodom and also Creator, with hints of Slayer. These girls, like I say, are very brutal live, and the whole set had a sheer powerful set from start to finish. Now, Prika is a fantastic guitarist and also a vocalist. She has a very brutal voice. Alongside Helena, both of them trade off as a fantastic guitarist and come up with some great solos. The same could be said for the rhythm section by Michaela and also Hell. And most of these girl bands these days are really, really brutal and heavy. Now, these girls were having fun, you could see on stage, and the crowd really enjoyed them. Lots of headbanging, lots of mosh pits, and a few fans coming over the barrier, which was good to see. These girls are furious, fast, and play some exciting thrash metal. As an opening act, they really got the crowd going, and they only played about a half-an-hour set, playing songs from the new album and also some of the previous albums. And if you want brutal thrash metal, these girls, you need to be heard. So the songs that the band would play live would be Seeds of Death, Behind the Wall, Kill the Silence, Perpetual Chaos, Venomous, Jailbreak, and the last song would be called Endless Ambition. So if you're looking for a melodic female thrash metal band that plays some brutal music, Nervosa are definitely a band to be checked out. So after a nice little warm-up by Nervosa, next to hit the stage will be German demigods Destruction. Destruction were formed back in 1982, and as we all know, they've been credited as the big 4 German thrash metal bands alongside Creator, Sodom, and Tankard, formed by longtime bassist and vocalist Schmier, also guitarist Mike, Cliff Bringer, and also original drummer Tommy Sanderman. And after a successful demo, Beastal Invasion, the band was signed to Steamhammer Records, and the band released their first EP, Sentence of Death. This was released in November. This EP definitely put the band on the heavy metal map, especially in Germany, and it wasn't long before the band released their first debut album, also for Steamhammer, Infernal Overkill, to be considered one of the cult classic albums. In 1986, the band would release their second album, Eternal Devastation. For me, this is a fantastic album, and as a 3-piece, it captures the true essence and power of the band's music. The band released the next album, which would be called Release from Agony. Within the band's career, the band have released 16 albums. In 2016, the band released an album called Under Attack. This was a great album. Sadly, this would be the last album to feature the original guitarist, Mike. Mike would be replaced by guitarist Martin Ferrer, and also on guitar would have Demir Eskik. And also joining the band would be Randy Black on drums for the album Born to Perish, which was released in 2019. Since 2019, this lineup has 3 album releases. We've got the next album in 2022 called Diabolical, and then the new album called Birth of Malice, which was released in 2025 for Napalm Records. Since the release of Birth of Malice, I have to say that Shmee is a fantastic frontman. Throughout his career with Destruction, he's always been a great frontman, and he certainly knows how to get the crowd going. As a bassist and singer, he's got a fantastic vocal range. At times, he can sing very, very high, but his style of vocals and bass playing fits really well with Destruction's music. Both guitarist Demir and also Martin are fantastic guitarists. They work really well together. They're a very powerful unit. And when it comes to guitar harmonies, these two really do trade off well together. Having 2 young new guitarists in the band, it really does make the band's music sound fresh and new. And Randy Black, as we all know, is a fantastic drummer. Now, Randy's been involved also with the band Annihilator and Primal Fear, as well as other projects. He's a fantastic drummer and originally from Canada. Now, I have to say that Destruction's stage presence was absolutely fantastic. And with a fantastic presence, these guys pulled off an amazing set. As we know with any band, the more albums they do, the harder it is to pick out a classic set for a live performance. And as the band only roughly had about 45-minute set, 40-minute set, the band would only play 8 songs. So the band would open up with a cult classic, Curse of the Gods. And this would be followed by the following tracks: Nailed to the Cross, Scumdog Human Race, Mad Butcher, No Kings, No Masters, Thrash Till Death, Beastal Invasion, and the last song would be called Destruction. From start to finish, the whole crowd were behind the band. There was plenty of headbanging, plenty of mosh pits, and it was an absolutely fantastic performance and atmosphere. And this was one of the best performances I've seen Destruction play live. But to have them on such a cult classic lineup like this was a great night. So if you've not heard Destruction before, folks, you really need to check these guys out, especially the new album, Birth of Malice. So next we come to Florida death metal act Obituary. Now, I've not seen Obituary for many, many years. I think it's about 15 to 20 years since the last time I saw these guys live. Now, these guys were originally formed back in 1984. Some of you probably know that they were originally called Executioner. And as we all know, their influence is very much Hellhammer and also Celtic Frost. And this shows in the band's music, especially with the detuned guitar tones. And the band would release their debut album under the name Obituary, called Slowly We Rot, back in 1989. Hailing from Tampa, Florida, as we all know, is the death metal capital of the world, such bands as Cannibal Corpse, Malevolent Creation, Morbid Angel, Deicide, the list just goes on. And not to mention the Godfather's Death. In 1990, the band released their second album, Cause of Death. In my opinion, this is their finest album. Since the band's debut album, the band have gone from strength to strength, and in total, the band have released 11 albums. Now, after The Cause of Death, the next album will be The End Complete. This was a fantastic album, followed by another album which was absolutely fantastic, and this would be World Demise back in 1994. And since the passing of Frank, the band would be joined by a long-time bassist of Death, would be Terry Butler, who was also in the band Massacre. In 2023, the band would release their latest album, which was called Dying of Everything. Now, this was released on Relapse Records, and I'm pretty sure the band are in the process of writing new material for the next album. This album would also feature guitarist Ken Andrews Jr., who's been with the band for some years, is a fantastic guitarist, and so to the live set. So these guys pulled off a brilliant set. The atmosphere was fantastic, and with the stage presence, with dark lighting, made the presence very eerie, but it fitted really well with the band's music. Now, Obituary are known for their detuned, brutal guitar sound, very much in the style of Celtic Frost, like I said, and Hellhammer, but they've created their own style. Now, John Tardy has a distinct voice, which is absolutely fantastic. He's one of the demigod vocalists of Florida death metal. And it amazes me how he keeps his voice in such great shape. Now, these guys are extremely heavy, but they have an absolute fantastic sound. Both guitarists Trevor and Ken are fantastic guitarists that create some fantastic guitar tones and packed full of energy. The same could be said for the rhythm section by Terry and Donald, are absolutely fantastic musicians. Now, I have to say that the crowd went absolute apeshit when these guys hit the stage. From start to finish, the pure energy of the band's performance was second to none, and the band would play 12 tracks throughout their set. So it would open up with the song Redneck Stomp. As we all know, this is an instrumental, but it really is a great opening track. It's heavy, powerful, and sets the tone for the band's music. The crowd loved it, and the band had a fantastic mosh pit. This will be followed by the next song, which will be called Sentence Day. And this song was taken from the band's album Obituary, which self-titled, released in 2017. And you could definitely feel the energy from Obituary's set. So the next song would be a song called A Lesson in Vengeance, followed by The Wrong Time, Infected, Body Bag, Dying, Cause of Death, and also the cult classic song by Celtic Frost, Thrash of the Titans. This will be followed by Chopped in Half, Turned Inside Out, I'm in Pain, and Slowly We Rot. So if you want to see a brutal death metal band, one of the Godfathers, check out Obituary, a fantastic set. So next we come to the headliners, San Francisco's one and only Testament. Now, what can you say about the one and only Testament? Now, these guys are one of the Godfathers, and they were formed back in 1983, originally under the name, as we all know, as Legacy. After the formation of the band back in 1983, the band would have a new lineup in 1985. And this would be Chuck Billy on vocals, who would replace Steve Zetra. After the Legacy demo, it wasn't long before the band would be signed to Megaforce Records and release their debut album, The Legacy, which is a cult classic, released in 1987. And with the success of the band's debut album, the band were also supporting Anthrax around the UK and Europe. This was a major breakthrough for the band, who would also release their second album, The New Order, back in 1988, also for Atlantic Records and Megaforce. And since the album was released, The Legacy, the lineup will be Chuck Billy on vocals, Alex Sholnick on guitars, who was a fantastic lead guitarist, with Eric Peterson on rhythm, Greg Christian on bass, and Louis Clemente on drums. In total, the band have released 14 albums and have been on various labels. At the moment, the band are on Nuclear Blast Records and have also just released their new album called Parabellum, which is a fantastic new album. If you've not heard it, folks, go and check it out. It's a very heavy, brutal album. Now, folks, I'm curious to know what your favourite Testament album is. I'd like you to leave a comment and let me know what you think is your favourite album. Now, the band's new album, Parabellum, is a brilliant album. It has a lot of elements of black metal. Now, we all know Eric Peterson is also involved with a black metal project under the name Dragon Lord. Now, the band's current album would feature new drummer Chris Davis, who's a fantastic drummer and a great replacement for Gene Hogan. Gene Hogan's an amazing drummer. Now, to watch Testament live, the energy and power was absolutely phenomenal. From start to finish, the band did an amazing set. As we all know, Chuck Billy is one hell of a vocalist who has true strength and power in his vocals. Not only at times does Chuck have the death metal vocals, he also has an amazing, powerful vocal range, especially when he's doing ballads. Both guitarists Alex and Eric are fantastic musicians. As we all know, Steve Giorgio is a fantastic bass player who plays a fretless bass with his fingers. We also know that he's been involved with Sadist and he's also been involved with Death. I have to say I like Steve's presence. He's like an old hippie that's playing in thrash and death metal bands, and certainly underrated as a bass player. New drummer Chris is a fantastic drummer. He has lots of power and energy and is a great addition to the band. From start to finish, the crowd went absolutely apeshit, and you could definitely feel the energy within the band's music and the audience. In total, the band played 15 tracks. We'd open up with DNR, Do Not Resuscitate. This will be followed by World War III, Practice What You Preach, Sins of Omission, Native Blood, Trail of Tears, which is a fantastic semi-ballad. We'd also have Low, More Than Meets the Eye. They would have a drum solo by Chris, which is absolutely fantastic. We'd have Fair Strike is Deadly, Infanticide AI, Shadow People, Return to His Serenity, which is a fantastic ballad. This showed the true power of Chuck Billy's vocals, and it just shows how much of a great singer he is at doing ballads. The next song would be followed by Electric Crown, and the last song would be the cult classic Into the Pit. What a great song to end the night. And like I said, Testament are a fantastic band live. If you've not seen them, please go and check them out, especially if you like thrash metal. All in all, this was an amazing concert. Had some fantastic bands such as Nervosa, Destruction, Obituary, and Testament. A great package and a great tour. So thanks for watching, Metalheads. Thanks for listening. I hope you like the pictures. Leave me some comments. Subscribe and tell your friends to subscribe as well. Thanks for watching, folks. Stay metal. Be safe.